Hey everyone, Connie Royal here, and welcome to my reaction to Persona 5 The Animation Episode 2. So, yeah, just as a reminder of my thoughts on last episode, kind of mixed. Because while, like, the content itself was technically good, it was extremely rushed, and I saw it a couple more times since my initial reaction, and yeah, it's extremely rushed. Um, one of my friends who's huge into Persona, she said that it's about like 2 hours worth of content packed into 20 minutes. And she didn't really seem to have an issue with this, but I really do. And I'm not sure how you couldn't see the issue with this. 2 hours worth of content, and let's take away maybe an hour of basically what just amounts to exploration. And the fact that it's a game, so there's going to be a more detailed look into it. So let's cut that away. That should still be maybe, at the very least, I'd say 3 episodes. They they skimmed through so much detail. The casino scene at the beginning should have been at least twice as long as it was, but most likely more. Um, the interrogation scene should have been longer. Heck, they could have made an entire first episode out of just the casino and interrogation scenes. They could have an entire 20-minute episode out of just that, and it would have worked. The issue here is that I felt they were trying to rush it just to show the uh, the summoning of Arson in the first episode. They wanted to show Arsen's summon just so they could integrate the entire persona thing in with episode 1, and I felt that it just hurt the overall quality. It's still good. Again, the content is still good. I'm not used to the Japanese voices. Someone else pointed this out in the comments too, I believe. I'm more used to the English voices because when I was watching Rarity Dash's Let's Play before I stopped watching that, I was watching. He is doing it in the English, so some of the voices throw me off a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. Um, yeah, the rushed pacing was definitely much of a bigger issue there, and I really just feel like they could have done so much more with pretty much every scene. But no, it was completely rushed through. And they skipped the one probably the biggest key moment. Like the entire backstory as to why he's there, it was basically just this very quick flash. And it's like you blink and you miss it. Yet that was extremely important. And the fact that they just skipped over it just kind of irritates me. Um, Now again, I don't know like the full story of the game. I only got up to a certain point, but there are some things that are just obviously important and should be focused on. I really hope that they don't try to like rush this too bad because that could be a mistake. That could be a huge mistake. And from what I heard, Persona 4's animation was rushed too, but the difference here is Persona 4, the animation didn't feel rushed watching it. I have seen maybe the first hour or two of the Persona 4 game, so I can acknowledge that it was rushed in terms of content, but it didn't feel like it was rushed. It didn't feel that way in terms of its execution. Um, just judging it on anime alone, because I've always talked about how I don't like just make forcing comparisons and how I prefer it to look at anime as its own thing, as its own medium, and that you shouldn't just judge it based on its source material. You should judge it on its own merits, and I stand by that. And that's the thing. I'm not saying Persona 5 is rushed just because there is so much more they could have done with the scenes and all, and they skipped a important one. It felt rushed. Each scene felt like it just went by in a flash, and there was no real depth added to any of them. It just felt extremely fast paced. And Persona 4's first episode didn't. Persona 4's first episode actually felt slow. if I'm being honest. Um, Persona 4 actually took a few episodes to really ramp up, to really get interesting and feel quicker. The first couple episodes felt slower. But yeah, it felt just way too fast. They skipped through way too much, and it just didn't feel right to me. But hopefully that was just the first episode. Hopefully they just did that so they could get to Arsene's reveal, and from now on they're going to go at a more, or at least present it as a better pace. Because I really want to love this, because I loved the story of the game, again, up to where I got. And I would be really disappointed if they mess this up, especially after how good Persona 4 was. But then again, Persona 4 Golden was pretty bad. That was like that wasn't even just rushed. That was just stupidly handled. Um, but Persona 4 was so good. And the Persona 3 movie that I reacted to back on the old channel, that was good and enjoyable. So it's just like they have so much potential here. People are praising Persona 5 so heavily. And to try and just rush through it, it would just be a huge mistake in my eyes. So I hope they fix things. I hope that was just a first episode kind of thing, and they really go back and start to explore things in much more depth from here on out. Um, in the meantime, though, I don't know anything about what's coming in this episode. I know what's coming in the story overall, because again, I watched part of Rarity Dash's Let's Play of the game, so I know what's coming up to a certain point. Um, so yeah, I'm not completely blind here, but I just don't know how they're going to handle it. So we're going to find out though. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. And real quick before we fade out as well, I forgot to mention, but if you hadn't seen my update video earlier, this is my living room. If you haven't seen this in previous videos on like my old channel and stuff, my dad's no longer working from home. Long story short, you can see the full thing in the update video I posted. My dad's no longer working from home, so I can record out here in the living room now. And I just have a lot more freedom to record in general. And that started today, so things are going to kind of build up to the better freedoms and stuff. I'm going to have to work up to doing that kind of thing again. Either way, thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So yeah, this episode's pacing was a lot better than episode 1's. It was still a little quick, I feel. And specifically, Ryuji summoning Captain Kidd was definitely a little quick. And definitely didn't seem to have as much impact as the game had. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it definitely felt like they did rush through it a little bit. But it was, as I said, it was better than episode 1, and it felt better too. Like, if you remember, as I was saying in the pre-thoughts and all, episode 1, even outside of just knowing it was rushed because of having seen the game, it felt rushed. It felt like they pushed through every scene without really giving it enough focus and attention. And it just felt like one scene after another in quick succession. In comparison to, again, Persona 4, which felt kind of slow with its first episode. But yeah, with the first episode, it felt too fast. But then we have the second episode here, and the pacing actually works here. It's a little fast again compared to the game, but as its own thing, it works. It's actually, it goes through it in a natural feeling. There's still a couple things they could have spent a little more time on, such as, again, the fight where Captain Kidd is first summoned, as well as the scene. I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but I think they should have focused a little more on the scene of Kamoshida and Shiho. And I hate to say that so much because that bothers me so much. It bothered me in the game, and it bothers me so much here seeing it fully animated like this. Um, Physical and sexual abuse by a teacher. It didn't really show the sexual abuse here, but that's kind of a big part of it, as mentioned in the game and stuff. By a teacher, especially, is like absolutely atrocious. One of the most horrible crimes out there, and to see it happen to such a nice, innocent person, especially like it's legitimately bothersome to watch that kind of thing. And it's supposed to be. And Persona 5 with the game and all did it excellently to where it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be bothered by this. It's supposed to get to you. Um so I can appreciate that to a degree. And that's why I think they should have shown a little more of it because I feel like they kind of skimmed over it when that's kind of a big plot point here. Um but yeah, those two things I think should have had a little more time focused to them, as well as when they got to the castle again. I think they should have showed more of these students, well, they're shadows basically, being abused, and it should have shown them how Ryuji and Ren first came upon them as well, instead of just like skipping right ahead to it. Um, those are my only real complaints with this. Otherwise, it was really handled a lot better. Again, there was the moment where it's just like that really bad editing of it's like the one teacher's talking to Ren, and then Ryuji's just there, and it's just like it was just poorly edited. But so my basic thoughts so far on the series is basically like it's good, but it's just good. It could be a lot better. It could be great, but they fail in a few different aspects. There are a few different issues with it that I can't overlook. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited to see certain things animated in the future with On, and I really hope that there's a couple episodes dedicated to that. I hope that all of that isn't just excuse me. I hope that all of that's just not next episode because that needs 2 or 3 episodes if they're going with this current pacing, 2 or 3 episodes at the least. Preferably 3 because there's a lot that goes on with that. Um, so in the meantime, I don't really have anything else to say regarding this. It's like I've gotten out my thoughts on certain things needing to be longer and the pacing being better than the first episode, but not perfect. And I talked about how I did enjoy things. Oh, my favorite thing here, though, was definitely the stylization of things. They really hit that out of the park during the fight scene with Shadow Kamishita. Um, Especially seeing just the stylization of when they did the team attack. That was so excellent. And it worked. You wouldn't think that kind of thing would work for a anime. I mean, it obviously works for a game, but you would think it'd kind of look a little corny for an anime. But for something like Persona, it just works. It just fits. Um, so tell me your thoughts on that and everything else with this episode in the comments below. And thank you all so much for tuning in today. So for now, I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles,